What's up, motherfoxers? Welcome back to the whore garage. Alright, in my last video, of course, I was explaining this to you guys, which is going to get rid of all of this relay, these two fuses, and this relay here. Of course, these are just halves. I unplugged the relay part of it. These are just the wired up plugs. But yeah, we're going to get rid of this. So this is a fuel pump relay, okay? Everything is tied into fuses between the fuel pump relay and the main relay. This was the trigger to go back to the trigger the other relay, which is what they suggest, and Holly does too, for the fuel pump. Well, I don't need this wire anymore. I'll use it to wire it to this. See what I'm saying? This is the trigger for the fuel pump. So this trigger wire has got to go into our pump right here. This one is done. You don't have to do anything with this relay. The next thing we got to do is on the main relay. This is the MRD wire. So this is the trigger that allows the other triggers to activate, and that has to go to the MRD right there, because these are grounded triggers. That has to go in there. And then this is the main battery wire that goes to the battery that's hooked up into here, and that also connects into this wire, which I'm going to dive into a little bit more, but I believe this right here, I think, goes to the coil. But there's also an ignition wire that goes to the ECU, which is this guy here, and we're going to hook this into one of these three ignitions. Now, there's going to be a separate ignition, like I explained in the other video, coming off the fuse box that's going to go into here, and that activates these three ignitions, which are clean. But then this one here, I'm going to do a little bit more investigating, but I believe it goes out to the coil wire. And like Action Vulture did, Tim, who works for Aces, did, he took that and he hooked it to VMain 2. This battery is going to go into the battery, and then this right here is the main power for this, is going to get hooked up into VMain 1. So let me go ahead and strip this down a little bit and make sure it's going into the coil. And the coil is right here. So let me just take this apart a little bit and see what we got. This is the coil wire right here, and look at it, ties into the output switch. It looks like it's riding on the power for the whole thing. I'm just gonna cut this probably a little bit further up here, and then we'll just terminate that right there. I think this just needs some power to ignite it, obviously, you know, to run your whatever output you're going to put on it. So we'll cut this up here a little bit just in case we got to tie back into that for some reason. I don't know, just out of curiosity. Now the other thing is, this is the VR wire, which goes to the distributor. It was tied up inside here too and just kind of sitting here. I'd like to have it, I pulled it out just to have a little bit more maneuverability for it. And then the other thing was the can, which plugs into the dash or the handheld or whatever. It was tied up in here like this too. I'd like to give it a little bit more length and just kind of give it another like 3 or 4 inches there to dangle on the side here. And then this here right now, guys, all this stuff right here that you see right there, when I bring it back, it'll all be gone. All right, there we go. There's the one we're going to cap off. There's the coil. We're going to put in VMain 2. Here's the power, VMain 1. Here's the MRD to trigger the triggers, and it's a trigger. Here is the fuel pump. Right now I'm going to go ahead and get some Tessa tape, get all this stuff wrapped up, just because, I mean, to a point here, and then I got to feed it back through there. I already got the power wire from the battery fed in there. Get it all wrapped up nice and neat and get it shoved back in there. And then we'll get to running wire to where this is going to be. But I also still got to go find a piece of steel to mount this. Like I said, I'm going to mount it. You got the 2 mounting points here on the seat. Get a piece of metal that I could mount it to in the back right behind there, because there's a nice spot there. That's where the Holly is in the other car. So I thought that'd be a good idea. There you go. It's mounted. Just kidding, obviously. No, this is a piece of replacement floor pan for one of these cars. I don't know which side particularly this is for. Obviously we just used what we needed of it. It's just sitting up there. So right here is the bolt for this seat, and here's the other one, the studs there too. So what I was thinking about was just cutting this away from here, and then all all the way up to here, and then cutting it up to here, then down here, so we can just get that bolt. All right, there's a rough drawing of it. I did have this moved up here, but then this hump, and I got wires coming down into here, so I figured I'd move it back a little bit, and then we'll cut further back here, and then just move this line back here so it's setting off there so we can get the wires in there. Alright, I flattened it out a little bit. I drilled the one hole, got that where I wanted it, and then put some, hope I don't regret this later, put some anti-seize on the bolt in there to put it exactly where I want it, and boom. Let's see if that gets everywhere. And there we are! Alright, so this stuff's pretty thin, so it was easy to just bend it to where you need it. You know, I mean, as soon as this gets bolted down, it's going to hold it down, and with the PDM on here, it'll push it down as well. But I did get it bent, if you can see that, so it was pretty easy. You know, usually when you like put like a 6AL or something, it's on dampeners. This got a built-in dampener right here. So I don't think that's going to be an issue. I'll throw some paint on it and get her bolted up to it. There's my sexy bracket all painted up. Looks nice and professional. Ignore the hammer marks of the debossed or embossed, depending on which way you flip it. So there it is. I mean, who cares, you know? It don't look that bad, actually, from what it was. All right, these are almost certainly going to shake loose, so we're going to put a little Loctite on it. No, this is not red Loctite. It says blue. Can't you read? Because it makes sense when you got red Loctite and blue Loctite. You put blue Loctite in a red container and mark it blue. Because that's real men of genius there. It's getting everywhere. That's good. This shit is like soupy, dude. Loctite's pretty sweet. I didn't realize that. I didn't mean to taste it. Jeez. I was just trying to get spit. Hey, this thing isn't exactly flat. Who made this thing? I think we got enough Loctite on there. There it is. It's all mounted. You bet. Now it's on there a little crooked. I did have to hog out those holes a little bit to get it straight. I got these that I used. I was dealing with some mixed nuts, and we're not talking cashews and peanuts here. These ones are too big. That was too small. I'm like, that's good that they're mixed in with all those. But you know what? Let's play a fun game on myself and just put those back in there, and then down the road I'm gonna go, why aren't these nuts right? I ain't worried about those, by the way. It'll just go on the carpet, you know, it's fine. There it is, painted and bolted down. Pretty sweet, huh? So yeah, those screws, it's like a bump stop. That was all planned, every single bit of it. So that's what I'm saying. It doesn't need a dampener. It's on its own spring. I might pop a hole right in here so the wires come out and they can go this way and they can come around here. Little update. Got the battery wires extended. Getting ready to get everything in here. Here we go. Of course, I had to add links to all those wires, the two little black wires, the VM1, this is the ground wire, and this is the MRD, and this is the fuel, and this is the coil. So I'm gonna get this all wrapped up nice and neat, and then shove it all in that little hole there. All right, look at that slick, sweet thing. All right. So this is what got removed, all right? And all of this is now replaced by this. Look at that. That's a lot better. So now we gotta stuff her in. All right, just trying to get some wire. A lot of this is just me trying to, okay, I need to push this there, this over here. It'd be a good place to tie this down there. Because I even got these wires ran in there yet. I'm getting everything situated here. So I got these wires that I'll show you a video here of me before these were there. You can't even see them anymore because right there they are. They're going up here. And then these are all the wires going, ignition wire, the dash, and also the radio antenna. So but yeah, now I'm finally to that point where I can start running these through the carpet. I already burnt a hole underneath my ass here. Right there. It's gonna come out there and be right here. Now for the hard part, I gotta sit here on the ground and do this. On my knees. All right, look at that, man. Shit disappeared, huh? All right, we got everything ran out here. Of course, I had to put this wire back in to the fuel pump. All right, there's that one there. These forks, or as somebody I guess called them, spades. One criticism I have about this, these don't like to fit in there. I gotta squeeze them closed to make them fit. That seems to be kind of an overlook on Ace's part about this. I mean, they'll go in. It's about the smallest you can get. I think this is a standard size, guys. You overlooked that, I think. There's the thing, man. It's a 10 gauge wire that I used. It's really 12 on the harness, but you still got to use this big fork, spade. It says fork on my thing here, just so you know. I had to take this and put vice grips on it and just clamp this other side, because if you don't, the stone just bends this over because it's copper. But I just so enough was exposed, and I had to grind each side like that because this plastic housing is just too narrow, man. That's kind of a dumb thing. It's like the last thing they thought about. So I think I may have found a way to get these in there. You might have to like bring the screw all the way up and set them sideways and stick them in there, because once you get them in there, they fit. It's just this plastic housing that is too narrow. I mean, like I said, it's kind of a dumb thing to overlook. There we are. It is all hooked up. So everything's hooked up, everything, even the ignition wire. So, and I'll pull the other relays out here and show you what gets hooked up, because I know there's a little bit of confusion on this thing, but I'm not the greatest of wiring, but I don't mind it. It doesn't bother me at all. And I know people get frustrated with it, but I just looked up a couple things and figured it out. I'll give you a thing here, see if the LEDs light up. The computer is right there. Look at all that. Everything's gone. All right. I don't like that light is on, because I haven't turned anything on. That tells me there'd be a parasitic draw. So something's not kosher. There's the fuel pump. So I did it all right. I did it all right, except why? You can see if you look over there, the computer LEDs over there in the corner. So fuel pump came on, everything's working. I mean, I could theoretically start this up right now. I don't understand this. Again, I'm not sure why that's on. I'm gonna start the car, just make sure everything's good.